Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I can feel this one. We're going to be talking here. Ripple heads to Davos as the world faces 300 trillion in debt. Massive session for you guys tonight. The energy is incredible as we move into 2023. They are getting it started off in Davos, setting the agenda, setting the plan. And who do they call forward to speak before them? That would be our good friend, Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple. And I'm just so happy to see that Brad is going to represent the people, represent the XRP community. I'm going to get into it further. And we're going to talk about how big this problem is that we got to solve here. Massive update, market update, current events, cryptocurrency, and the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. Another session that's going to be lit. Make sure you tell your friends and family. This is where it's going down on this platform right here. God bless all of you as we surpass 57,000 subscribers. God bless all of you. And then we're just about to hit 300,000 on TikTok. So it's just been an incredible journey. We're just getting started. Let's get tapped in. Tell your friends, family, and anybody that you care about, your business partners. Let's get them tapped in so that we all understand what we are going through, the agenda that they are setting, and who they are calling forward to solve this massive liquidity crisis. Ripple heads to Davos as the world faces 300 trillion in debt. Let's get right on into it, starting out with our update, looking at the markets. We have our Bitcoin all the way up here, back above 21,000 at the time of this recording. Now we see that it did peak back up to 21.3 here once again. Looking at the daily chart here, right, has everyone excited. Massive green candles. Very good time. We are enjoying this, right? And we've gone up 40% from the FTX crash and nearly made a $5,000 move. Now, let me show you guys this chart. Now, this chart, we're on the 4-hour chart, but we're zoomed back out because nobody wants to zoom out. Nobody wants to actually look at the levels that we've gone to, which is right up to our next resistance up here at 21.5. So that top horizontal yellow line is the marking that we've had going back here for a while, right? Back before the FTX collapse, we've been waiting. And we said we can pump back up to 20K. We're not going to get excited. And you can see, I want to say real quick, guys, God bless waters above crypto. Many people maybe don't know or aren't aware of the technical analysis that waters above got us tapped into, but he's one of the major reasons why I have so much better understanding of how this market's been moving. And I'm going to show you guys, many people confused about how to apply the moon phases and the astrology to these markets. It's a little bit esoteric. It's a little bit beyond me, but waters above got us tapped in. And with a very simple understanding, we shorted the hell out of Bitcoin. And we followed this thing 8 for 9 on our trades, grew our trading bag 100%. If I had the course to sell you, I would plug it right now, but I don't have a trading course to sell you. And I'm actually not trading this market, as I've been telling you guys, because we're in the middle of a liquidity crisis. Don't get greedy out there, but we are watching this same pattern continue to play out time and time again. So many people, we've been telling them, they don't have an understanding of it, but we've been telling them around these new moons, we're going to get some bullish energy, typically. Around these full moons, we're going to get some bearish energy, right? But it doesn't happen on the exact day of. You apply a view of this, a window of opportunity, 5 days before, 5 days after. Let's take a look at the chart. Timed out once again perfectly. We were talking about, watch out for Friday, January 6th, full moon. Okay, well, the market started to move back up on that day. So one would think, oh, you're wrong. Nice moon phases, bro. But what do we see here? 6 days before, we reach down here to 16,300. 5 days before that full moon came in. So we get 5 days before, 5 days after, that energy's going to come in. I'm not saying you got to worship the moon, but golly, did we trade this thing, trade this pattern, short the hell out of Bitcoin, and haven't been getting faked out once. So once again, we get another fake out rally. Over the course of just over a week, 10 days here, we pump 5,000 for Bitcoin. Now that's the US dollar price, right? Or US dollar equivalent. We've made about a $5,000 move for Bitcoin. Now think about gold making a move like that, right? The other store of value that is available here for us to invest in, quote unquote store of value for Bitcoin. We've been seeing how that thing's been moving, right? But this is where people get suckered in. You got to understand. Once again, the crypto market, novice traders, many people who don't know what they're doing. And so they get these sucker rallies. Guys, this is up 40% since the FTX collapse, the FTX sacrifice. That using this understanding, we called, months in advance. We said, look ahead, back-to-back eclipses, and it's going to be a full blood moon lunar eclipse, November 8th, election day. Sacrifice of FTX was the chosen candidate. Interesting analysis, and I just say, God bless Waters Above Crypto. Now, many people might have seen my interview that I did with Waters Above. A little bit controversial, speaking on God and religion and some other thoughts. But I just say, God bless whoever you believe in. Waters Above gave us the sauce, and we applied it to our technical analysis. And now, even though we're not trading, we've been able to navigate this thing in a nice way. And, I really think that Waters Above, he's someone most furthest along in understanding technical analysis and the secret sauce, which I call astrology, numerology, all that other stuff, right? That many people dismiss. But when you do look at the elites, you understand that they are tapped in. They're on a different calendar. They're on different days. They do dances when the moon is full or whatever they do, right? And then they sacrifice and they move cryptocurrency. We've seen now for 2 years, we've been watching this pattern, right? Eclipses, massive energy coming in, can be bullish, but then we've seen it be incredibly bearish. And it's been interesting to watch. Been interesting to trade. I wish I could still trade this because we've been 100% tapped in. But once again, faking out everyone. So our community, riding this thing out, not FOMOing in, right? We've been continuing to dollar cost average into our fundamental positions. So that's fine. The dollar cost average strategy is not about timing the market. So I get people ask me, if you were to dollar cost average, when is the best time to buy? And it's like, well, now you're trying to time the market. The best time to buy is every paycheck, every chance that you have some extra funds to invest into this asset. Don't take my advice is financial advice. Don't take anything that I say as financial advice. But I'm laying this out here. The market moves that we've been expecting, that we've been seeing, I feel like we've been completely tapped in. And right now, we're in the middle of another rally that we've been seeing some interesting moves in Tether, actually. I didn't even pull up the clip. I didn't pull up the Twitter post, but we got people that have been observing some interesting moves coming from Circle and coming from Tether. So the manipulation is there, right? Whether we can find it or not, it's very clear to me. When the fundamental analysis tells you that we're not done cleaning the house, but the market moves back up 5,000, and then we get a tweet from CZ Binance that says this: Bitcoin price is back to the pre-FTX levels. Decentralized technologies are extremely resilient, which they are. The market's been strong. That's great. 40% move. Compared to the traditional stocks, compared to even precious metals, right? That's pretty crazy. See a 40% move like that. Now, we actually have seen silver making some serious moves, right? Catching up. But this is where it suckers the new people in, right? And so I'm sorry to start the first 7 minutes of this episode or so talking about Bitcoin and the fake out rally that we're in the middle of. I wish that I could say that we're continuing on our way up to a bull market. We're going to the moon, but that's not the case. Now, I did pull up and see that the new moon is coming in on the 21st of January. Bullish energy. We've already been partaking in the bullish energy, right? But we're going to see it, I think, finish off here soon. We can go back above that resistance level of 21.5 for a brief moment in time. The liquidations are completed. It's already wiped out a lot of people that were already short, right? But this is what they do. They pump this thing up. Maybe we even chill here for a little bit, right? A couple more weeks, another month before the next move is done. Now, could we be wrong? Could I be wrong in thinking that the bottom is not in? I could. Maybe the bottom is in. Maybe we're going to go. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't seem right. I've been here in the space now for probably 5 years, I guess, going on 5 years. So I've seen this before with Bitcoin. I've been faked out every time I bought into cryptocurrency. I swear I was just FOMO buying pumps for the first 2 years that I was acquiring my bags. But I just continued to dollar cost average every chance that I had some extra funds. And that's what we've been continuing to do. And we've been continuing to watch this market fake out the newbies time and time again. People that got it bought, people that think they're traders. They bought a little course. Now, I give a huge shout out to Waters Above. He's been a huge part of my understanding of the technical analysis and been applying that, and I think he does have some courses and would be one person that I would actually consider, buying from, learning from, because the proof's in the pudding for me, without even buying the course, without just watching his free YouTube videos. So that's someone that's tapped in. We've been surrounding ourselves and getting information from people that aren't emotional, that aren't laser eyes, that aren't FOMO clickbait. And many people have been confused with me thinking that I'm FOMO clickbait. No, I'm just excited based off of real partnerships, real documented proof and evidence of adoption of distributed ledger technology being facilitated by Ripple to the banks and financial institutions using XRP. That's just getting hype off real documented facts and evidence. That's not FOMO clickbait. There's a big difference. Now, let's continue on, guys. Interesting update. You guys are very clear. Let me actually take a look here. Ethereum is at just under 1,600, and XRP actually did move back up here. XRP is almost at 40 cents. Okay, so XRP did a little bit of a move back up here, 40 cents. That's very interesting to watch. Let's continue to watch that one closely. You guys know how I feel. Continuing on. Current events and the show that is taking place in DC, truly incredible. Colin Rugg, can someone tell me why HB, the hunters become the hunted? Can someone tell me why HB was allegedly paying $49,000, nearly $50,000 a month in rent at his father's house where the classified docs were found? That's right, folks. Our president has lost some documents. Very interesting to see. I was suggesting he's got to get a red folder. A little bit easier to track your documents if you get them in the red folder. Now we see Charles Payne. You can lose your house keys anywhere, but not in 2 or 3 places at the same time. The notion that President Biden, A, accidentally took classified documents, B, scattered them over multiple locations, C, never bumped into any of these documents in 6 years equals doesn't add up. It's nuts. It is truly incredible. The DC show, we're going to continue to watch it. But I back that up with this one here from Aubrey Huff. I've lost faith in the Republican Party. I realized in the last 3 years, they are all part of the same cabal. They work both together to give us the illusion of choice. They are all about money and power. It's time we wake up to that fact. I fell for it, but not anymore. Now we're going to get in. We're going to talk about that little group, that little secretive group. We are going to talk about that here shortly. But to that point, we've been continuing to say that you got to take advantage of this opportunity. You got to survive. And it's going to be up to you to take advantage of this because the average tax-paying American has $164,000 for retirement. Guys, I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to retire with only $164,000. While the average federal employee's pension is $750,000. Interesting reality and interesting comparison there. Now we come up on an interesting event once again, the debt ceiling. The Cobesi letter. As the U.S. national debt tops $31 trillion, they must raise the debt ceiling or the government will default. This will be the 79th time the government raises the debt ceiling since 1960. If a public company did the same thing, it would be considered a historic case of fraud. If a public company did the same thing, it would be considered a historic case of fraud, the 79th time that we've had to raise this debt ceiling. The Cobesi letter chimes in with this one as well. Things the Fed has said since 2020. Recession is unlikely. Inflation is transitory. We'll hit 2% in 2022. Meanwhile, it hit, what was it, 8%? All the way up to 8%? True inflation double than that. But yeah, the CPI lie all the way up to 7-8%. Interest rates will not rise until 2024. Well, that's been interesting, right? We've continued to see them continue to raise rates into 2023 here. Next meeting is going to be critical. We're going to be watching that one closely. The Fed should buy bonds and ETFs, worst year ever in the history of the bond market. and the ETFs as well. Stocks getting smacked. And now they say that a soft landing is still possible. Soft landing is the new, quote unquote, inflation is transitory. The lies from the Federal Reserve, as we continue to say, it's tough to take the Fed at their word when they said all of these things after 2020. 2020 was a test, one of many. The simulations will continue. And we've been seeing the Fed has lost all respect, and their reputation is done. Not only across the world as these countries drop the reserve currency status, drop doing trade deals in SWIFT, drop our treasury bills, right? But here in America now, if you are tapped in at all, you understand that they've set us up. And that's why I want to, like Aubrey Huff was saying there, the Republicans, we got to get straight to it. We got to get straight to it, right? Now, with the Biden operation, having his son paying him $50,000, whether that was for a tax write-off or whether that was other operational expenses and operations, we'll just leave it at that. We'll get to the bottom of that, hopefully, through investigations. But I do support what the Republicans have introduced with getting rid of the national income tax, the federal income tax. So I do support that. But we're here to hold everyone accountable. And we want people that are going to represent the people, which is why we're going to get into this, Ripple heading to Davos. In my opinion, the one company that is representing the people has been Ripple. I've liked what I've heard out of their CBDC advisor, respecting privacy. I liked what I saw out of Monica Long, talking about privacy with data, respecting individual liberties and privacy. I really actually like that because we understand that they are sitting down with the central banks. We are understanding that they are going to go speak at the World Economic Forum in Davos. They're going to go join the party. Out of all the people in the crypto space, out of all the representatives that we could be even bigger than crypto, even, politicians, anybody who's speaking on behalf of the people and actually getting something done, I'm glad that Brad's showing up. Let's continue. Real Person Jedi, I appreciate that super chat. Thank you. Thank you. How is it going? How is the program working out for the Swiss National Bank? They have reported a $143 billion loss for the 2022 financial year, the biggest loss in its 116-year history. How about that, folks? 116-year history, $143 billion loss. How's it going in Japan? How's the program working out? The Bank of Japan is preparing to purchase more Japanese government bonds on Monday. They just purchased $78 billion in a week. Enjoy the ride. Report from Gold Telegraph. Thank you for sharing. Central Bank of Japan just been buying government bonds week after week here, ramping it back up. We report here $143 billion for the central bank, Swiss National Bank. How's it going in Japan? 78 billion in their own bonds purchased. How's the program working out? And that leads us into this one. Dr. Martin Hesbuch, Sunday Thought. Global debt is $305 trillion. Who do we owe this to? The effing Martians? It's a great question. As I continue to say, when I talk about solving the debt, the currency, and the liquidity crisis, I say that portions of the debt has to be written off. It was ran up by just specifically speaking here in America with the $30 trillion in debt and the $150 trillion in unfunded liabilities. I didn't sign on to that. I want to opt out of Social Security. I would rather just not partake, right? This is a Ponzi scheme that's bust. $150 trillion in unfunded liabilities, $30 trillion in national debt for the government. We didn't sign on to that. It was politicians that went to D.C., did the dance, and sold us out that ran that up. That's not our bill. How can we foot the bill for criminal corruption that we're now exposing at the highest level? You want me to foot the bill for criminals? That's not how America works. And so we have to reset it. We have to restructure it. Some of the debt, maybe a lot of the debt. And then obviously we have to replace the currency as well. But just imagine, guys, as we have this meeting of the minds, the agenda being set to start off the year 2023, back in Davos, back meeting in person, the World Economic Forum. And we got our good friend Brad representing the people with a $300 trillion. I went and fact checked this, guys. This is true. This actually was reported by the World Economic Forum. You can go pull up the articles from the WEF, and they're talking about this $300 trillion problem as of last year. So the current numbers are actually more than this. The current number is more than this. But we have $300 trillion just in debt. Now we have the World Economic Forum's Davos Summit starts tomorrow. Its founder, Klaus Schwab, is one of the most influential men alive. He even participated in the G20 Summit of World Leaders last November. Why is that, and who exactly is Klaus Schwab? I'm not going to talk about that. You guys can take a look if you want. I'm not going to talk about him. You guys take a look when you got a chance. Take a look. But I'm going to give a huge shout out here to Father Woody on Twitter for tagging me, tagging Brad, my good friend, Brad Garlinghouse, speaking in Davos, World Economic Forum on January 19th. Finding the right balance for crypto is what the panel is called. The boom and bust in the crypto markets, compounded by the dramatic volatility in 2022, has left many with questions about the future of blockchain innovation. What would it take to craft sufficiently robust regulation to realize the benefits of digital currencies while ensuring positive macroeconomic and societal outcomes? This session is directly linked to the ongoing work of the World Economic Forum's Digital Currency Working Group, whatever it's called. Now, out of the speakers, who's all speaking? Managing editor, crypto for the Bloomberg News. Okay, cool. President of the Central Bank of the Netherlands. Commissioner for the Financial Services, Financial Stability, and Capital Markets Union of the European Commission, Chief Executive Officer of Ripple, company that's going to put a dent in the universe, making XRP a world reserve currency as liquid as a G10 currency. Had to add that in. And then we have Omar Sultan Al-Alama, Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence, Digital Economy, and Remote Work Applications, Office of the Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates. Massive session on the way. January 19th, Brad Garlinghouse speaking in Davos, meeting with the suits. How big is the problem? $300 trillion just in debt alone. We have this one here from Meepo. The implosion of the sovereign debt bubble will be the nail in the coffin for Western institutions. The chaos that will ensure will be biblical. Accountability will be demanded from governments, banking, and media, all of whom were asleep at the wheel. And what a coincidence. This little startup company called Ripple. Making waves, appearing where it matters most. Where it matters most. Is the agenda good? Is it evil? I want Brad there. I want Brad speaking. I want people there that are actually going to get something done for the people. We are in a battle of good versus evil. Everything that I see from this little Ripple company, this little Ripple startup, is solutions that benefit banks, financial institutions, that solve a liquidity crisis, but have enabled people like myself to use a technology that's ready to change the world, that's ready to replace the reserve currency, that's ready to be as liquid as we want it to be. Because I'm about to show you in the next post how XRP on-demand liquidity has unlimited liquidity, according to one bank official. Quote, unlimited liquidity, folks. Let's get right on into it. We have a 2 spot here from XRP Nuss. Appreciate that. Thank you. And we have a 5 spot from Joshua Woolley. Ripple is getting more deals than anyone else in the industry. Let's go. Is that the Josh Woolley that just shared that? Father Woody? Maybe that's different. I was thinking, yeah, close. Father Woody shared that one with me, though. But right here, folks, from ISO 222, let's do it on Twitter. Ripple has unlimited liquidity. No bank has unlimited resources. But we have an interesting situation, a unique position in the marketplace. This little Ripple company, let's take a look. We have no bank has unlimited resources. And I'm about to show you guys this document. And they are using Ripple's XRP cryptocurrency. The supply of demand for liquidity is effectively almost unlimited. The switches out of XRP take place almost immediately, and there is no longer reliance on traditional corresponding bank relationships, and even major banks are using Ripple's ecosystem. We are also able to operate outside of the SWIFT network. You don't dare say outside of the SWIFT network. Now, this case study, the RippleNet solution allows immediate access to unlimited liquidity using the XRP digital asset with certainty and immutability and transfer and settlement. Let's take a look at this document. It's from EuroXM Bank, runs on Ripple. This is put forth here by Graham Bright, creating future of businesses with financial acumen, EuroXM Bank. And this guy is the head of compliance and operations at the EuroXM Bank. In a talk with him, we talked about the current industry scenario and what the EuroXM Bank offers to its customers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll on down here to page 4, and right here. Is there any special experience with your clients you would like to highlight? Right here. Is there any new addition to the list of product services? Anything exciting you would like to share? One of EuroXM Bank's USPs is participation with the Ripple X current service for payments and on-demand liquidity for solving liquidity problems, switching from the local currency to digital assets XRP and paying out in a local currency at the receiver end. This not only resolves the time issue of delivery and authenticity, but also solves the issue of switching in and out of expensive US dollars or euros. This negates high costs and often wild currency fluctuations for small customers. These services are significant for economies in Africa, as cash-challenged companies no longer need to wait days for their money to traverse correspondent banks with associated funding and dispersal costs from local accounts. Let me scroll back on down here. Is there any special experience with your clients you would like to highlight? Supporting local businesses in local currency transactions, EuroXM Bank worked with companies across Africa needing to pay suppliers across the continent and across the globe, but not wishing to continually buy USD or other fluctuating currencies from a local bank. This affected cash flow and access to liquidity where their order size would be relatively small. Working with RippleNet, our solutions helped clients with immediate settlement in a local currency and further access to ODL, on-demand liquidity, offering unlimited low-cost liquidity using the XRP digital asset for settlement with certainty, trust, speed, and immutability of transactions. Folks, that's the secret sauce. That's the unlimited low-cost liquidity. As we got Brad going to speak at Davos with $300 trillion in debt, with countries all over the world here, specifically highlighting use cases in Africa for this bank, where they're tapping in, not just RippleNet. This must have been put out a while ago. I don't know what year this was put out because they refer to it as X-Current, but now we know that they have moved all of the products for RippleNet have been moved into either you're basically in RippleNet, and then some of the RippleNet clients are using on-demand liquidity, which settles exclusively with XRP. So it's about 75% RippleNet clients aren't using XRP, and 25% RippleNet clients are using XRP on-demand liquidity. Specifically in this use case, they're talking about their clients tapping into, quote, unlimited liquidity. We prefaced that by showing you guys $300 trillion just in debt that needs to be tokenized. So that's $300 trillion that's going to get tokenized in something. Is it going to be CBDCs? Now we've seen, so recently I've been seeing and repeated, we continue to see these banks mentioning wholesale CBDCs versus a retail CBDC. Now, I'm about to show you guys what these governments, what these countries are doing. Out of India, India's central bank governor calls for an outright ban on cryptocurrency. But hold up, we just covered last week banks, financial institutions in India that are using XRP on-demand liquidity, but not letting the retail hold it, right? So we know they're using cryptocurrencies, but the central bank, but the government wants to come in with sweeping regulations, control. While they launch the CBDC, They ban your ability to hold the real crypto that will be used on the back end, that is being used on the back end, that isn't for the little folks to hold, right? And we continue to see the use cases even in these other countries where the bank is actually going to be potentially holding the XRP or have a line of credit or be tapping into Liquidity Hub with Ripple. But the little guy that's in the village in Africa, he might not actually be custodying the XRP. This is where I want to see, the opportunity for us to reach out to people across the world. You might be listening in India. You might be listening in Russia. These BRICS nations, although it's fantastic to see, they're buying record amounts of gold, right? They're setting up new digital financial assets that are backed by gold in Russia. Oldest bank in Russia, Sberbank, controls a third of the assets in that country, launches a gold-backed digital currency, right? But then they go and they ban their own citizens' ability to hold these assets. See, what we have here is we have wholesale central bank digital currencies coming, and we have wholesale digital financial assets, digital currencies, bridge currencies. We could come up with another dozen different names, but it's a level that's not meant for us. Now, is the Fed going to buy back our XRP at 50K? Is the government going to take our XRP from us? Is there going to be a buyback? That's all a different conversation. We can see right now that these governments, that these central banks, while they partner up with Ripple, while they use Ripple on the back end, they're ushering out the CBDC for the little guys. Some of these CBDCs are being built on the XRP ledger. And what I am waiting for is the first central bank to announce that they are going to be holding XRP on their balance sheet, because that's going to be that final check of, yes, they are holding it as a reserve currency. It's not just going to be the little banks and financial institutions and money remittance partners in Africa, South America that are taking advantage of XRP for a competitive advantage in the marketplace. It's not going to be just that, but it's going to be central banks and these actual banks and financial institutions holding it on their balance sheet, saying that we don't want to have to rely on Ripple to use the XRP on-demand liquidity. We would like to have a little bit for ourselves, right? And then as more and more of our partners get tapped in, we get more and more corridors tapped in, more and more countries, then the network's set. And you just continue to flip the switch. One country after another, one bank after another, one financial institution after another. 75% of RippleNet clients waiting to flip the switch because of regulatory clarity, right? And there are currently so many use cases and demonstrations that we've been seeing, all of these testimonies of tapping into unlimited liquidity. Compare that, like I said, that no bank has unlimited resources. And we come to an interesting point too, where the Federal Reserve is now, and these central banks are starting to cut off the supply of liquidity to these commercial banks. So this is the main battle that's underway and how far they're going to get with the CBDCs, because the CBDC would eliminate the need for a lot of these commercial banks. The Fed has been feeding them all of these different loan programs, expanding the credit and the everything bubble, the debt that's now reached $300 trillion across this world. Who do we owe it to? The aliens, right? It's incredible. Now, what we see here, I see that there are some other appearances from some other cryptocurrency projects. True, yes. But look at the panel that Brad's on. I saw Hedera is on some panel that's moderated by will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas. Where is the love? Black Eyed Peas, will.i.am. That's cute. Brad is taking the stage with the central bankers. This bank at this panel just happens to be the Bank of the Netherlands, among another official from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates there. Massive panel that Brad's going to be speaking at. Massive solution to a $300 trillion problem there. We start to go look at the overall cryptocurrency market cap, the most basic conservative technical analysis tells us that we have all the money, $100 trillion plus, coming by 2027. And we see that this group, where Brad's going to speak, Ripple heads to Davos as the world faces 300 trillion in debt. This group has an agenda and a timeline that puts it out to 2030. So for us, in the middle of this game, in the middle of this battle, good versus evil, we understand it. We understand their agenda. We understand what fight we're trying to put up against the CBDCs, against respect for privacy, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is all I ask for. Please stay the hell out of my way. Okay? The American entrepreneurs and capitalists are going to be able to save this country. And I just continue to say, you free America, we can free the world. But you guys that are tuning in from all across the world, you guys are putting up a great fight as well. And although it's good to see you guys are moving away from the dollar, you guys are moving away, you guys are acquiring record amounts of gold, the people are losing losing some of their freedoms with the rollout of the CBDC. So it's an interesting battle that we continue to watch, but we understand the assets that are going to run the new system, and we understand vaguely the timeline, right? We've been following the timeline here that tells us to remain patient. Tells us it's not tomorrow. Tells us it's not overnight. But we will watch the dominoes fall. We've already seen a lot fall into place for Ripple and XRP in the middle of a bear market, in the middle of a recession. Ripple's in the best position out of all of the other cryptocurrency projects, in my opinion. I mean, their financial statement says that they're healthy, over $1 billion cash that we know of, nearly 50 billion XRP sitting in an escrow account. And as we see from this banker, unlimited liquidity to provide. But we're not done. And we talk about this. They are acquiring, while they try to ban you from being able to buy, have cryptocurrencies, these central banks, they're buying record amounts of gold. And we go back to the last time that they did a buyback, back to 1933. They did a little buyback of the gold. Let's remind everyone that was falling asleep in history class and forgot that they did do a buyback, at a cheap price, set it at a higher price, screw over the American people. That's our precedent. That's our fight. That's what we're up against. The equivalent, and this is shared by Rob Kent's Gold Silver Pros on Twitter, the equivalent of $1,770 of gold purchased in 1933 would be roughly $151,000 today. Let that sink in. So we have 1 ounce of U.S. gold today at about 1,700, which I guess that, yeah, gold is trading right below 1,800. I haven't taken a look at where gold's at recently. But back in 1933, you could have bought 1 ounce of gold for $20. $20, which is, it's interesting because that's the price of silver right now. It's about just over $20, right? But you could have bought 1 ounce of gold, 1933, and that's actually the price that they bought it back at, I believe, is $20.67, around there. They bought it back for $20, and then they set it to 1 ounce of gold equals $30. Over $30, it was $35, right? But if you would have taken what it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold now, 1,700 of the fiat funny money in 1933, you invested that same $1,700 into gold back then, it would be worth $151,000 today. That's a pretty incredible return. And it's a pretty incredible demonstration of the destruction of the value of the US dollar. Now, Peter Spina, Gold Silver Maximalist, puts out this tweet. You have $20,800. Do you buy 1 Bitcoin or do you buy 900 ounces, silver troy ounces of silver? So another similar comparison that we have here today. Would you rather, with about $21,000, would you rather have 1 Bitcoin or would you rather have nearly 1,000 ounces of silver? Now, folks, you know what I would rather have. I don't quite have that 1,000 ounces of silver quite yet, but I continue to dollar cost average into my silver position, buying the silver rounds, 10-ounce bars, little bags. I know you guys got big stacks. I know what you guys have been doing. And that's why I've partnered up down below with Goldco. So you can roll over your retirement account, your 401k into precious metals. But I've been seeing you guys been sending me pictures of your stacks. They're massive. They're attractive. They shine nicely. But for me, this situation's very, very simple. What the solution is. It's going to be a combination of what I call the tier 1 assets, the suppressed assets, gold, silver, XRP, XLM. XRP wholesale, XLM retail, gold, store of value, silver, massive utility, need it in the new financial system, in the new economy. Silver is going to be even in greater demand. And we're seeing an incredible amount of silver, an incredible amount of gold that's leaving the circulating supply. Same thing's taking place with XRP. And why does that matter? Because when we go to figure out the true value of XRP, we're not looking at market cap. We laugh at the market cap bros who don't understand that you can't look at a fundamental infrastructure network like you do a stock. That's foolish. So we have termed coined the term here, liquidity value, which is a different calculation. Now, compare that with gold and silver. That circulating supply is leaving. My great guest, Andy Sheckman, said a lot of the silver that's being bought, a lot of the gold that's being bought is a one-way ticket out of the vaults that we now see at historical lows. They're running out of metals, right? Well, that gold, that silver that then leaves the circulating supply and just sits on my desk for me to show you guys every single episode, sits in my vault, sits in your vault, that's less silver, that's less precious metal, precious commodity that's available for utility. So in the case of gold and silver, the utility is jewelry. They use it in dentistry for gold. I'm not even going to start to list all of the use cases for silver, right? Obviously, you need it for the batteries that are being used in these electric vehicles. You need silver for a lot of utilities, right? You also have it as a store of value. And then with XRP and XLM, the main utility is liquidity, but I do deem them to be a store of value as well. They're going to store all of the value that's going to be built on top of them over the next, for the rest of our lives. I mean, this thing's here to last for decades. This is a monetary reset that will affect us for the next 50 years. And we go back and we see that there hasn't been this level of buying of gold by central banks since 55 years ago, right before they took the dollar off that gold standard. Now we go back before that, back in 1933, like we said, $20 would have bought you an ounce. 20 US dollars. I don't have my wallet near me. That little funny money that we hold that's signed by Rosie Rios, funny enough. $20 would have bought you an ounce of gold. Now, $20 only gets you an ounce of silver. And your guy's going to hit you with that spot price premium too. So you're going to pay a little bit more actually. But if you would have taken nearly $2,000, basically, $2,000, the price of 1 ounce of gold now, and you would have put that in, invested, $1,700 into gold back in 1933. Well, you wouldn't have been able to own it because the government forced a buyback. So that's interesting. You would have had to find a way to store it securely, right? Hide it. But you wouldn't have been able to buy way more gold, and that gold would now be worth $150,000. So $1,700 to $150,000. And you guys can do the math on that one, right? And I think we have a very similar setup. We have a lot of catch up to do for silver. This is a setup that we haven't seen in decades, right? And we literally have never been this low for the London's Metals Exchange and some of these other vaults. We're down to historic lows as far as supply. And then we look at who's buying it. The people, when central banks are buying it, when banks and financial institutions are buying it, when me and you are buying it, we're not using it for the utility that it can be used for. right? We're using it for a store of value. We're taking it out of the circulating supply. So for the market cap bros, that supply number gets changed. So your numbers get changed and you're going to realize a higher price. If the demand continues, and the demand just continues to grow for silver and gold. Not only for people buying as a store of value, but people that want the utility. Now, I think that it would be naive to think that the same thing, and it would be a dismissal of the facts, to think that the same thing is not taking place with XRP. What do we see? The XRP is not coming to us, guys. Guys and gals, God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, please smash the thumbs up. Let's understand this situation. The XRP ain't coming to us. Not coming to the exchanges. The XRP, 1 billion, gets released to Ripple every single month. They take 200-300 million XRP and they give it to their buddies and friends that are using XRP for on-demand liquidity, other use cases, other utility, treasury flows, just to have fun with. But they're only giving it to the banks and financial institutions that have partnered with them. Now, we see some of these banks, some Central Bank of India, some of these governments banning their citizens' ability to buy XRP and other cryptocurrencies, literally. In our country, we got put in a staged SEC lawsuit, and then all of our exchanges delist it, and it becomes very difficult for an American to buy XRP. So they couldn't get away with just an outright ban over here, right? But they reduced our ability to get to it. Meanwhile, they're accumulating amounts that we haven't seen yet. On-demand liquidity continues to grow. What was it, 9 times year over year last year is what the report was? And guys, who's the coolest cat that's walking into that meeting in Davos? Who's the smoothest guy? That's our buddy Brad. That's our good friend Brad. With a war chest at his disposal of unlimited liquidity and a limited supply of a reserve currency. Hey, we have unlimited liquidity, but we have a limited supply of this reserve currency. Are you interested in getting some? We have just under 50 billion in our escrow. We get $1 billion released each month, and we are willing to do a deal with you guys. We are. We think that it could help you out a lot. And when you see how big these problems are, 30 trillion in Nostro Vostro accounts, 1.2 quadrillion in cross-border payments every year, $6 trillion daily, quadrillions in derivatives, 300 trillion in debt. And we look at the most basic, we compare that with the most basic conservative technical analysis, market cap, bro. What do we see? We go to a market cap in the overall cryptocurrency space of 20 trillion by 2025, 100 trillion plus by 2027. But what's interesting in looking in that is we have, guys, just a few years left here before they've rolled us over to the new system, before it's all tokenized, before this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity is gone forever. So I want to tie this all together with, as we see in DC, as we see in whatever country you're tuning in. Your country might have riots in the streets. You might have some different issues. You know, there's so much going on the world stage. Here in America, we have the most interesting puppet show taking place in DC. And the people watch it. The people eat it up. The people pick a side. The people get emotional. And the average American, what was that first number that I shared with you guys? The average American has only $164,000 for retirement. Guys, that program is not going to help us survive. Is not going to let us survive what they have planned for us. A dramatic shift. $164,000 for the average tax-paying American in their retirement. So we can watch the situation in DC. We can root for the Republicans. I'm going to hold the Republicans accountable, and I'm not going to wait for anyone to save me. I'm not going to wait for Biden to bail me out. I'm not going to wait for Biden to build back better. I'm not going to wait for Trump to come back. I'm not going to wait for the Republicans to save us and hold the SEC accountable. We're going to continue with what got us here. And it's brought us success, but we're just getting started. That's focusing on building our businesses, focusing on starting a side hustle, focusing on bringing in as much money as possible, because we understand that the CPI lie doesn't tell us the real situation. We need more funds to feed our family. We cannot live off of this. We cannot end our working careers with $164,000 for retirement. That's going to be tight. That's going to be a matter of survival for us. When we make the money, we look at our opportunities. I still believe that cryptocurrency digital assets is the biggest. XRP is the cryptocurrency that turns me on the most. I'm not here to give you financial advice, but I'll tell you what turns me on the most. It's a little XRP cryptocurrency. No homo, but I love the way that Brad walks in so smoothly to Davos World Economic Forum. He's going to represent the people very well. And he does such a great job of selling a solution of unlimited liquidity, limited reserve currency. It's fantastic. So we acquire our cryptocurrency digital assets because I believe that it is the best opportunity. We move on over to real estate. Cash on the sidelines. There hasn't been enough pain. The American people and the American real estate market has not been brought back to reality. So we're going to wait for that. Now, is that to say that you have to wait on the sidelines? No. You can start making deals now, but you, in the real estate market that we're in right now, have to bring these sellers to reality. You have to make them compromise because these people haven't been brought back down to reality of the situation with interest rates where they're at. With the Federal Reserve that's telling us that they're going to continue to raise interest rates a little bit more and that no one has plans to cut interest rates this year. So we got to bring the sellers back down to that reality. So you can start lowballing now. You can start negotiating terms that are favorable for you now. Absolutely. We move from real estate to precious metals. I believe Jim Rickards suggested, precious metals shouldn't be more than 5 or 10% of anybody's portfolio. And he's someone who's incredibly bullish on precious metals. But we understand, and you guys can figure out which percentage is best for you. But for me, it's diversifying amongst the asset classes, not 20 different cryptos, not 20 different NFTs and meme coins, bro. The different asset classes, real utility, real value that will last and be needed during this recession, bear market, will be needed during this liquidity crisis, will be needed during a reset of a reserve currency, will be needed to solve a $300 trillion debt problem. So for me, in precious metals, it's been silver exclusively, okay? Because I think we have a bigger gap to fill and a bigger opportunity. And for me, it's been silver. Now, for you guys, figure it out. Talk to your financial advisor if you have one. Most of the people I've been talking to in my one-on-one sessions that I've been having in my Discord group, been asking them, how's the program been working out with the financial advisor? What do you guys think? Nobody's impressed. Nobody's thrilled. And it reiterates my point. I'm not here to be your financial advisor, but it's time for us to get tapped in together. I'll share with you what I'm doing, but I'm not certified. I'm not licensed. I'm not a financial advisor. Please. I'm just some guy here who's doing the deals, doing the real thing, showing it for everyone to see. I'd love to help you. But in the one-on-one sessions that I've been having with my Discord members, they're not thrilled with their financial advisor. But figure out what allocations need to be made for you. For me, it's been diversification amongst the asset classes, understanding where the value is at as far as when's the right time to buy in and where is this going on long term, how big of an allocation needs to be made. Now, I appreciate everyone for tuning in here today. If you haven't already, please do me a favor. Please smash that thumbs up. I greatly appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. If you want to get tapped into that Discord group, you want to sit down for a one-on-one session, get tapped in with the group, okay? Get in touch. It's all at my website, zachrichter.com. And if you are looking to roll over your 401k retirement account to precious metals, my partner down below will help you with that as well. Just hit that precious metals link at the top of my website, and they'll get in touch with you, and they'll help you roll it on over. The worst year in history for the bond market which in the traditional 60-40 portfolio makes up 40% of that portfolio that Wall Street shows you guys, that the financial advisor tells you is the program. 40% bonds just had their worst year ever. 60% equities, traditional 60-40 portfolio just had its third worst year on record. Now, if you have a financial advisor, that's the questions I'd be asking them. First off, why didn't we shift? Why didn't you see this coming? This little Zach guy on TikTok and YouTube said it was coming, showed his community that it was coming, positioned himself accordingly. Although he got smacked in crypto, he's acquired fundamental positions that are ready to absolutely move when this thing does break out. Put money in silver that, the returns aren't as sexy as crypto, but they maintain their value and they've been actually pretty good. Since the lows of September, we've had a fantastic move in silver. Upon breakout, upon the technical analysis charts, the most conservative charts take us to a return that cannot be matched in the stock market with our cryptocurrencies, XRP, and others. So first off, why didn't we position? Why didn't we see this coming? But two, what are we going to do now? And three, maybe it is time to fire them. 60-40 portfolio, third worst year on record. Bond market, worst year on record ever. Cryptocurrency, us crypto bros, we got smacked. Now, I did just talk with the financial advisor actually recently because I was seeing about implementing some of these programs like a Roth IRA, like life insurance for the family that I can't set up myself. I need one of these guys to help me with that, right? So I'm not trying to say that financial advisors don't have a role. You need to be tapped in with your financial advisor more so now than ever. Now more than ever, you need to get someone. But I was interested to see what, you can set up a 401k, you can set up an IRA, you can start paying your children in your business. There's different things that you can do. So I was talking with a financial advisor for how to facilitate that. But for me, it's self-custody for the most part and self-control. Because I've spoken with a couple now that say, you understand this better than we do. And I say, yeah. But you guys still got a role. You still got your little life insurance and the, IRA, setting up a couple different things, whatever. That's nice. But now more than ever, we're bringing these guys back to reality. The traditional portfolio, just hanging out in the stocks was doing fine. You guys took part in that. For those of you guys that had the 401ks and the stocks and everything, you guys saw where your portfolio went over the last decade. The party is over. And if your financial advisor ain't going to help you out, it may be time to take self-control. And even if you are going to use a financial advisor or somebody else, you still need to do your research. You still need to take control. So much is changing. So much is being disrupted that we got to understand the situation for ourselves is what I would recommend. I'm not here to give you financial advice, but I would recommend getting educated 100%. So smash that thumbs up, share this content far and wide. And now let's open it up. I do have a little bit of time for a Q&A session. God bless all of you. Thank you for tuning in. I see we got a 589 super chat from Shane McLaughlin, Discord member. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate you. Trump 2024, Rector 2028. That would be a good little back-to-back run, wouldn't it? Let's take some questions. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Japan will be dumping the dollar this week. Exactly. Dumping the dollar, destroying their own currency even faster than the dollar. And that's what's been interesting is we've seen paired up against gold, these other currencies like the yen, the pound, the euro, gold's back up to all-time high against those currencies. It's just the cleanest shirt in the closet's been the US dollar up until now. That's coming to an end. Great point, Dex. Thank you, brother, for everything. All the work that you do, Dex. Thank you, brother. High frequency minds here. We are so tapped in. The energy is so positive, even amidst these, monstrous problems that we face here. Just incredible. 300 trillion in debt. These evil guys that are trying to tell us how to live, right? Even amongst all that, you guys can see the light that's shining from us. You guys can feel the energy that's coming from us. That's why I say nothing can stop what is coming. We are going to reveal all this truth. God willing, we are going to go down putting up a fight. You guys are so tapped in right here with me. TikTok, thank you guys. Let's take some questions. Questions, what are we working with? Madness, hey, if it's madness, tell me how your program's working out. Tell me how I can learn. I'd love to hear from you, Barry. El Salvador just put out regs on crypto. Yeah, exactly. Regs in crypto by El Salvador. Yes, I did see that. That's good. That's good. As far as holding Bitcoin as is their store of value, hasn't been so good for El Salvador, but that's good that they're moving along. And see, to that point, even people that are understanding the world's moving digital, fourth industrial revolution, cryptocurrencies, these guys will go and they'll go all in Bitcoin. They'll be Bitcoin maxis after we've already seen Bitcoin played out. Bitcoin's a relic of the past at this point. I mean, what are we doing here with Bitcoin? See, we got a super chat from Tony Huggins, 10 spot. I'm expecting another minor fake out rally before the new moon. What you say, Zach? Yeah, exactly. Tony, I'm talking about going back up a little bit more. Yeah. So I'd had that horizontal line on my chart for a while now, going back to before the FTX collapse. That's where we were at, was at that 21.5 level. Sure enough, we wick up pretty damn close to it. And we still have a few days before that new moon's going to come in on the 21st. So that's going to be one to watch. I don't think that the move is done. Tony. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. And we got to continue to watch this because, guys, you already seen it. The O-face, clickbait, bottoms in, pump, trade, 100x leverage. Use the link on down below to trade. 100x leverage, pump it, send it, laser eyes. Setting up the noobs for sacrifice. And what they're doing, why they do that, is because they need exit liquidity. What the pump that just took place to me, and what I showed you guys that CZ was touting this pump. CZ's touting this pump. And their solvency over there at Binance has come into question here recently. I believe that this pump allowed some of these guys to pay off some loans, to cover some margin, to get a little bit something done. But this was another false fake out pump driven. I think we can see clearly that Tether's been pumped again. Circle even issued new USDC here recently. We just saw that Gemini launched support and compatibility with USDT Tether. The next day, they get a lawsuit against their Earn program by the SEC. Interesting coincidence. So it's not done for me yet. And I think that this fake out really is going to sucker in a lot of people. It allowed all of those big players, all those whales, all those guys that do partake in the manipulation like CZ. It's very clear. If you haven't figured it out by now, these guys take each other out. Like Binance was part of the takedown and takeout of FTX and Alameda. 100%. They pulled their money out on top of all the other ways that they manipulate this thing. And remember too, that well over 50% of the trading in this space is fake. And it shows us once again how far they can send it. Since the lows in November after FTX, 15.5, about where we were at, all the way up to 21.5. You know, over a $5,000 move, 40% move. And they sucker everyone back in. Everyone piles back in. Laser eyes fired back up. Hashtag Bitcoin bros. Pump it. Exit liquidity. Bring more noobs in. And the people are hungry because they're getting killed out here. And then the people see that their governments are trying to ban them from owning cryptocurrencies. That makes people want to do that even more. When the government says you can't do something, it gets more people that want to try doing it. Super chat from AR 5 spot. Show us that X halted red file folder, brother. God bless everyone tonight. I don't know if this offends anyone, but I still do use my red folder. We still do keep some documents in here. And actually, see, the most recent documents that Jimmy had sent me, this one here is from Texas Lawyer. And yeah. This Texas Lawyer article was about a particular business deal where it was fraud in the inducement. And then this is where I've kept all of the documents here that Jimmy sent me so far in the committee. Here's the proposed terms for the purchasing of the XRP tokens from the participating token holders sent to the Department of Treasury, Federal Reserve Bank, all 12 of them. This is where I keep my documents, yes. Appreciate the super chat, AR. And actually, I didn't have time, but Jimmy sent me another text today, actually. And he sent me some interesting information about a case that took place in 1993. Now, guys, I never thought that I'd be here. When I first started on TikTok 2 years ago, making a little crypto content, talking about XRP, I didn't think that I would be getting sent legal cases and documents from one of the best lawyers in America, literally. Not according to him. That's not a self-proclaimed title. It's actually been in some of the most reputable sources in this country as far as that legal field. He's been called one of the best lawyers in the country. We got Jimmy over here sending me documents that have taught me so much about this legal battle that is underway. Now, for those of you guys that didn't catch it, I shared the Twitter spaces that took place on Bob Way's platform. Bob Way, OG Ripple insider, early guy that was part of Ripple. Bob was part of the really early on team. Really got in behind the closed doors. And he had David Schwartz join him on the Twitter spaces for about 30 minutes. And so I recorded that Twitter space. It's on my YouTube. You guys can go back and watch it. I highly recommend you guys go watch it because they're talking about the Flare proposal. Flare deep dive, Flare update is coming. But in the meantime, go back and listen to what David Schwartz had to chime in on the conversation in regards to Flare. But it was so interesting to see him acknowledge the fact that XRP holders have a claim to their Songbird and their Flare that is most likely sitting on just the wallets of these exchanges like Coinbase that haven't dispersed them to the XRP holders. Now, why is that so damn interesting? Well, because we learned from documents that were sent to us by Jimmy about the Article 12 of the UCC, an amendment that has now been put forth and adopted in over 4 states where there's a take-free rule included in that 12th amendment. There was about 11 amendments, give or take. This is the 12th amendment to the UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. There's a take-free rule within Article 12, already been adopted in over 4 states, where if you don't make a claim within 2 years, you lose the rights to that digital asset. The controllable electronic record, as they have in the document here. If you don't make a claim, now whether you want to make a claim that your XRP is worth $50,000, that your Songbird you just haven't received yet. You don't, the value of Songbird that's being traded on the market is very clear. Maybe we could see the future value grow a little bit if it actually got released to all the XRP holders that are supposed to be getting it. But we just haven't even gotten possession of the property yet that was intended for us. So we have a claim at the Songbird, and now we have a claim at the Flare as well. And so in that spaces, David chimed in and he said, I'm not a lawyer, but XRP holders do have a claim for action. So it's been interesting to see this come full circle. And like I said, whether you want to make a claim that, that your XRP is going to be worth $50,000 or it would have been worth $50,000 if the SEC hadn't chosen to sue us, hadn't chosen to give other countries, other, Ethereum type competitors an advantage. Had they chosen to not do that, our XRP would have been worth $50,000. Or you just want to get your Songbird and Flare from Coinbase like me, we got to speak with the lawyers, guys. Red folder aside, $50,000 aside. Do you understand your rights with this digital asset investments? Do you understand how to set up trusts, entities to preserve your wealth? God willing, you catch the Dogecoin pump. You get rich off flipping NFTs. Or we just hold all these fundamental assets and we finally do get a utility bull run. What are you going to do with the wealth? I wish it wasn't this complex. I wish it wasn't this confusing. In my experience here, this digital asset investment space, this research, this point in my life, this point in my businesses, lawyers are a necessary evil. You know, my mentor Dan Pena calls litigation a business strategy. So my mentor Dan Pena is a little bit ruthless, and he brags about his record in court. But he calls litigation a business tool, a business strategy to be used. So that's why at this point in time, for me, I put on the suit. I'm going to talk to Jimmy. We got to get these guys on our side of the table. And we got to understand our digital assets. We got to understand we got to understand how to protect our wealth. It's not just digital assets. We got to understand how to protect our wealth here. So what is the final price of XRP? XRP Lion in the house. XRP Lion says 385,000. Now, this is what I'm going to say. We know, we just covered the document here that we shared here tonight with you guys. Ripple partner saying that they've been able to tap into unlimited liquidity using XRP. They were a RippleNet partner, but they're specifically using on-demand liquidity XRP. And they were able to tap into unlimited liquidity. So what's the final price of XRP? Well, if it's got unlimited liquidity, I'd say it has unlimited value. Unlimited price potential. Price potential that we can't comprehend because we're still trying to price it in dollars. There's a big reset underway, folks. God, I love this silver stuff. I love it. Eventually, I will get some gold. Eventually, maybe a little bit. Right now, I just don't have any need or desire to get gold. You know, if I had millions of dollars I need to store some wealth in, maybe gold, maybe a couple gold bars. But until that time, silver. Dan Pena is the man. And that's what I'm saying, guys. You want to get offended? You want to play little games? You want to just hope and pray that our coins go to the moon? Or are you going to set up a real foundation? You're going to start that side hustle. You're going to start that business. You're going to stack some cash on the sidelines to move on real estate this year and into next year. You're going to figure out how to set up the entities to protect your assets. You're going to figure out how to set up the charitable donations and the trusts to carry out the good work that you're going to do with the wealth that you come into. 2023 for me, guys, is about elevating the conversation, elevating the strategies, building the infrastructure if you haven't already built it. And if you've already been building like we have been, some of us, it's time to double down. God bless you guys, man. I'm so excited. So excited for this year. Zach, can you do any impressions? I don't know. I've had some people say that I remind them of other people. I don't know. I'd be buying gold and burying it in my backyard. XRP Lion, you know the deal, brother. You know the deal. Unlimited liquidity means unlimited value. I mean, it's just value growth forever. Very simple. What am I drinking? Remember, guys, it's light beer for me. Bear market beer for me. Nothing fancy going on over here. Michelob Ultra is tonight's beverage of choice, which I don't recommend, guys. Alcohol is a bad thing. We are the new 1%. Amen. Amen. How do you claim your flare? I can't speak on that right now, but Flare Deep Dive is coming on the way. Great show, Zach. Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Dex. If the QFS is coming, what's the best token to buy? If Trump is backing that, Back to the Future predicts Trump as one of the richest people or things before the world ends. Well, we know that Trump likes gold. We know he likes real estate. We know he likes businesses. We know he understands the tax and how to pay very little tax effectively and implementing what the tax code wants us to do, which is build businesses and invest in real estate, provide housing. So Trump understands how to operate within America. He understands the art of the deal. I do think he is coming back. I do think that he's part of a major moment in time in this country's history. I think that his connections go back, and it's pretty incredible if you look at where he comes from, who he's connected to. Interesting story. As far as Back to the Future QFS, which crypto should we invest in? Well, we know David Schwartz has told us that they are working on making XRP quantum resistant. As far as the QFS, you're not going to see it in mainstream news. You're not going to see it in the average crypto bro is not going to be talking about the QFS. For me, it's very clear. They're working on the quantum computers behind the scenes, but we get announcements every so often about major breakthroughs in quantum physics, in quantum computing, creating black holes, trying to distort time and space and reality. I mean, they're doing it all, guys. Trying to summon the demon. Which crypto to invest in? There's only one that I've heard that's been working on for quantum resistance. And there's only one that I know is being ran and confirmed and validated in a underground nuclear bunker. That's XRP. That's not a joke. I wish I was making that up. There's an XRP validator and node running in a underground bunker. And David Schwartz has said that they're working on making XRP quantum resistant. Bitcoin, proof of work, will never be quantum resistant. I don't think that there's any way that it can be quantum resistant. Now, is the QFS, is quantum computers, is the real adoption of it 10, 20 years away? Sure, yeah, maybe, probably. The military is using it right now. The military is on it way ahead of us, decades ahead of us. So it's real right now. As far as the financial system running on quantum computers and being validated through quantum networks, Starlink satellites potentially, right? It's coming. It's here. They're building out the infrastructure right now. They're running the tests. There's a quantum computing battle underway right now. There's a battle for the chips underway right now. And go figure, we got all these Bitcoin bros eating up all the chips there for Bitcoin, Ethereum. But no, I mean, literally, there's a battle underway for the chips. There's a battle. It's kind of like it's the quantum space race, guys. That's what this is, the quantum computing space race. And so people think that the QFS is crazy. No. You have a financial system right now. You know it's going to be restructured, reset, and it's going fully digital. And you have quantum computers that they tell us the military is using. The top, scientists in the world are running tests on them. It's there. It's just a matter of when they converge. The financial system with the quantum computers. It's really not that fancy. And then Elon Musk hasn't been able to make it to Mars yet, but he's in low Earth orbit, just above the Earth, with his satellites that are bringing internet to Ukraine, are bringing internet to, parts of the world that don't have it, tapping the world in. I remember that time Zach came on live buzzing big time. I love it. Guys, that's what's funny is tonight I've had half an adult beverage. We're just lit over here. Zach's drink is 80% water. I know. I'm faking it on you guys. GMO drink. Okay, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. We ran it up tonight. Another fantastic session. You guys feel the energy, where we're going with it this year. If you want to get tapped in on a further level It's at my website. If you want to roll over your 401k retirement account to precious metals, it's down below. It's all at my website. You guys already know the deal, zachrector.com, and I'm just so excited, guys. Thank you so much for all the support on the way out. If you could smash that thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and remember that our schedule, quick announcement, schedule has moved. I've now pushed it back half hour. So our live streams are now Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay. The little one, she's been going to sleep a little bit later. It allows me to have a little bit more time with her before bed. So I got to get my daddy time in, right, with my girl, and then we come in and we kill it. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when we're going to be doing these live streams, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. And you guys know that we're dropping content on a daily basis for you guys. I appreciate all of you guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you, and God bless. Okay. TikTok. XRP Lion, God bless you, brother. A real one in the chat. A real one in the chat. Understands what's going on.